I'm gonna ask you this question. If it's something you got to think on, let me know. But something that's always been passionate of mine is like we all dudes that grew up in the hood. We all dudes that grew up without a lot of money. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So we know about that struggle food. But we got a little bit older, and now we know how to, we know how to honestly finesse the same shit that we was eating, but do it at a lower cost, right? One thing that I've always been very passionate about, and Mike, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because this is something that me and you can collaborate on. I've always wanted to do a class with lower income families, Black families with multiple children who may or may not be on social services, and really teach them how they can make the same stuff they're making, but at a lower cost, at about the same or lower cost, actually probably lower, and healthier. So do you have anything that comes to your mind right now that you could say, this is a dish you can make that is not as processed? Like how I said, I don't do the hamburger helper no more, right? We make our own fucking hamburger helper.
Yeah.
Give me something.
Actually, I do have a dish, and it's not even one that I created. Because I can say this, and I got to be real. My family, when I was growing up, it was just my mother and I. And my family can cook. My grandmother cooks, my mom cooks, I cook. And my mom was really good at that. And there's a thing that she used to make. It's probably one of my favorite things I've ever had because I thought it was magic. But it's green beans, smoked turkey wings, and mashed potatoes. But the thing is, though, is that fresh green beans are actually pretty cheap. And even if you buy the longer ones, you can snap them. Just have like everybody just snapping your beans in the bowl. You throw the beans into a pot, and then you go ahead and saute up some onions and some garlic. Just get it going. Then you fill it with your water, and you go ahead and add whole russet potatoes to it. So you're essentially going to cook everything together. And then last but not least, you're going to add your piece of I like smoked turkey wings. If you got like a full family, I would say go for smoked turkey legs or smoked turkey necks or something like that. I use that in there. And I say use smoked turkey versus smoked pork because normally smoked turkey has less fat and less salt. If you cook that all together, let it cook for maybe like an hour or so. What you have right there is literally a marriage of flavors. So you get a slotted spoon. You have cooked green beans that have been cooked in deliciousness. You have potatoes that can be pricked and mashed because they've just been cooking away. And then you have this turkey meat that's now super, super tender, super, super juicy that you can just pull, and now you have this whole meal that you cooked in one pot. And that's like, I guess if there's a dish that I think of that's both low cost, healthier, and it doesn't also take a lot of time, because that's something that you can really, like, if you have a bunch of kids and you have like a full-time job, devoting an hour or so of cooking is a lot of time. And I feel like it's not always just a financial thing, because there's also a time investment involved in cooking. And there's also the fact of the matter is that a lot of, like, if you buy fresh ingredients, you have to cook them fast or they go bad. And if you have the type of lifestyle where cooking every day isn't really possible, sometimes you buy the cheaper stuff or the more processed stuff because it lasts longer. This particular dish, everything will last for at least 4 days if everyone doesn't eat it up already. So and you can keep actually the cooking liquid itself. It's delicious for beans. It's great for grits. And also it's great for any sort of soups you want to make as well. So not only do you create a meal for yourself, but you also create stuff that you can use later in the future. Like, even cook your rice in that broth. That broth that has those vegetables and that smoked meat in it, cook your rice next time you're making like rice and gravy or something like that in that, and watch how your life changes.
And let me tell you this too. You said something very important there. Obviously, because there's not a lot of time if you're in a certain situation, depending on your life. But what I think we got it backwards, right?
Yeah.
It's, if you cook all that shit up beforehand, dog, freeze it.
Right.
Freeze it. I learned that from my wife. We made that roast, bro. Roast. There's so much roast in there right now.
Yeah.
I ate on it yesterday. I ate on it today. I'm probably going to eat on it tomorrow. And then we're going to freeze it.
Freeze the rest.
Bong. Even I'm talking the gravy. Everything. You know how much, especially since we had a baby, we started learning the thing. Because I think what we think is, all right, we don't got a lot of time, we don't got a lot of money, and if I buy these fresh vegetables, then they're gonna go bad. So why do them? No, get them fresh vegetables, cook that, take a day, build a community within your family, cook that shit up all day. Think about this, Mike. You grew up in this. I bet you grew up in this. Your mama came home with them turnip greens. You knew how to fucking shuck them turnip greens.
Yep. It's funny that you mentioned that, but yeah. My mom would come home with them. My grandfather would also. There's a time we were all trying to clean up all the greens together. But also, what my mom did when I was growing up, and she didn't tell me this until later, but she actually didn't buy me any baby food. What my mom would do is that whatever they were having for dinner, she kept stock. So she would have like vegetable stock, chicken stock, beef stock. And so like if that day we were having roast chicken, she would take some chicken and throw it in the food processor with a little bit of stock, puree it down, and that was my baby food.
Yeah, we made our baby food as well. We made our baby food as well. And it's so funny because our baby is so like independent. Like she knows, like she didn't want us feeding her after a while. At all.
That's awesome.
But man, I think if we can restructure this to people to say like, yeah, I know it's harder to buy those things, but you know what? We can still eat the same things. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I make a lot. I love me some buffalo chicken tenders, some buffalo chicken wings, and everything like that. I love all that. Bruh, I got a little recipe I make. I take me some chicken breasts. I cut them bitches up. I got my panko. I got my egg wash. I got my flour. Seasoned the way I like them. I'm not gonna buy Tyson.
No, you should.
I'm gonna make up a bunch of those and keep it
and
like
freeze
that.
them.
Freeze them. If you make that food, you take a prep day with your family and make all that food up and then freeze it, you will do so much better, like for the whole, like holistically for your family.
And even if it's not a prep day, even if it's like a prep job, even if there's somebody like when I lived with my mom, like I have like, cause you know, I've worked in kitchens, so I have better knife skills than her. So we would have a thing, like if she bought like fresh onions, bell peppers, and celery, it was my job to make, cause I would chop everything and make our own Creole mix. And that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so even if taking a whole day isn't feasible, if you take a job, even something small, of like, all right, cool, make sure that the stock is on today. Or, hey, you know what? We need to clean these greens, make sure the greens are on today. Even if we don't eat them today, let's cook them up, freeze them, so then we can go ahead and have them for later.
Man, thank you for that, man. Why do you think food is so important to the Black community?
Honestly, because Black community, wow, that's a heavy question. Honestly, I feel like it's important because what food does, food is both communal and it's also generational. Because for a long time, like, you can go back to like slavery days, we didn't see our families unless we were eating together. And then you talk like the civil rights movement of the 60s, in churches, like food was one of the biggest revolutions. Like people don't realize this, but food was one of the biggest revolutions that Black people successfully did in America, because the Black Panthers started the breakfast programs that are now in American public schools. That was a Black Panther started program. And I feel like food is important because it brings people together. And then also there's something special about learning how to cook something from your family. You know, like my mom has a special recipe for dressing that she likes to use. My grandmother has a recipe for oatmeal cookies that she's taught me. And those are gifts. Those are gifts that I'm going to carry on for the rest of my life. And I think it's important, especially as Black people, because we haven't always had the big generational gifts. Oftentimes food and dishes like that were the generational gifts. Like, the Black roasting pan that your grandma has? Those cast iron skillets that get passed down, the china that gets passed down, all of that, that's the heirlooms. Those are the heirlooms. So it's fine. If we were disfranchised enough, we couldn't get land, well, let me teach you what I made from what we grew on this land.
It's the sharing, it's the giving, it's
Yeah.
the, like for example, like my mom is a grandmother now, so like she don't cook. She used to cook her ass off, but she don't cook no more. So my mom come over here with a $50 bill and be like, everybody eat. Go, what we going to eat? We getting
That's
loaded baked
funny.
potato, whatever it is. But that's her way of doing it. But as a
Mhm.
kid, we used to be kicking and everything like that. And my mom be like, I got all the homeboys at the crib. And my mom's like, I'm finna go fry some chicken.
Boom.
You know what I mean? She made
Boom.
fried chicken. She made
Yeah.
macaroni, potato. Like I'm talking about in a matter of 20 minutes. That should take me an hour.
Yeah. Got to use all the burners at
But
once.
it's
Gotta
the
use all of them.
love. It's the love, man.
Mhm.
And I think like I don't think we take it for granted by no means. But that's also too why you think with Black communities, man. That's why we love the holidays.
Oh, so much.
We
Yeah.
love the holidays. No matter how dysfunctional our damn family is, we love
Right.
the damn holidays.
Because it's good to see your people. It's always good to see your people. Like
But
I got the majority of my family lives in Ohio. I love the holidays when I get to see them. Because we don't talk all the time, but it's still special. And the food's delicious because, the food's going to be delicious, but it is that big communal part. I feel like that's a big part of why food is so important in Black communities.
yeah, mama or grandma don't put their foot in the food, so now you know it's gonna be fire.
Right. And
Jay,
you
what
just
you
saw
got
your
to say
cousin
about
that you
this?
haven't seen. Right.
Why is food so important in the Black community? Then we're gonna take a quick break. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, why is food important in the Black community, or to you? Why do you see food as important in the Black community?
I think Mike touched on the major stuff. Um, food is communal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reason to gather. Potlucks, those types of things. I don't know how our coworkers are doing potlucks these days, but I know if the families are doing it now, if the families are doing it now, you know it's gonna be good. But I think of TV shows and movies like Soul Food, and
Mm-hmm.
like any type of Black family movie, any Medea film has a kitchen scene. Medea's Family Reunion, you have Cicely Tyson in the kitchen, and she comes in the kitchen, she's like, I want to see my family. The mom of the family is like, I want to see my family. Like and they're in the kitchen, and like that's very like I said, it's a reason to gather. It's a very communal thing. Uncle on the grill, mama in the kitchen. That it's very. It, it's I don't want to say it's kind of patriarchal in that way.
With them
But
sandals, Uncle on the grill with them sandals.
and
Right.
the denim suit, the denim
Right.
short suit, yeah,
Pressed. Clean. One cigar. If not a cigar, a beer.
both. He got a Bud Light and a stogie. Period. But yeah, it's we were like Mike said, we were separated all during the day. The males were out in the field. The women were tending to the house and all that. The only times we had together was at night when we was cooking. And back then, we were made to eat the scraps of food. And that's the one thing I love about us. I'm tired of us being given lemons, I tell you, but we know how to make some dang on lemonade, I tell you that. And that's I cherish how much of overcomers we are in our blood. It is literally in our DNA. We know how to make something out of nothing, and that's with life, and that's especially with food.
Yeah.
Man, those are our heroes, right? Like when you think about that uncle doing the grill, that motherfucker was He-Man.
He was.
How he could
He was working
put
magic.
that grill together, cook all that food for all them people, and
Right.
was still fly, talking shit, telling stories the whole time.
Right.
And then if his
Right.
song came on, Auntie will walk up and they be dancing together, turn around,
On the grill, on the grill.
Right. Just dancing.
Everybody's got a little all that, yeah.
right?
But also too, let's keep in mind, man. Let's keep in mind, be honest with that, man. That was honestly our peace.
Yeah,
That was our harmony, man. Like, man,
yeah, man.
you know how much chaos, we endured in other realms of our lives. That was the one time, somebody gonna trip out at some point, but overall, the event's gonna be
Right,
pretty
right.
peaceful.
I mean, it is family, but it was no. Tony, you hit the nail on the head though. It was our peace.
It was our
I
peace.
still I still remember like cooking with my grandma, my mom, because growing up it was my grandmother, my mom, my aunt, myself all in the house. That was my immediate family. And I just remember like waking up, the snow falling, and the house smelling like food, and knowing that I get to help, also do dishes, and also get to taste. And that was just the fun part. No, we didn't always get along. Lord knows. But at the same time, though, it was still important for us to get together and do.
Yeah.
It's always important to see your people.
Well, beauties and gents, man, this is the section where we talked about health and wellness and just overall the beauty of cooking, man. I thank you so much, Mike. Mike's going to be joining us after this quick break. We're going to take a small break and just get our minds together and go into the next session where we're going to talk about a little bit more of some hardcore topics regarding the Black community and Black men. All right, we'll see you in a minute.